I went from 237 pounds to 220 pounds in 7 days. Was it easy? I needed help. Back in November of last year, I lived in New York City my entire life. Slumlord bought my building, created unfavorable conditions, rats, mildew. I mean, it was a horror story coming home every night and feeling the little critters running over me. So I got out. I moved to the boonies. Never lived in the country in my life. But it was a big cultural change. In New York City, I literally walked 5 to 7 miles a day from my office to my home in Greenwich Village back to Midtown. And I was always about 187 pounds. We moved out to the country here, this is my RV, and what happens? Well, there's a highway, Route 46, a block away. There's no real places to walk around here. If you walk on the side street, these young kids drive 40 miles per hour on 15 mile per hour streets, and you just got to be aware that they're not aware. And there are kids here. It's a dangerous situation. So thanks to being up here, and there's no place to go like Manhattan. In Manhattan, there's something happening every minute. And to me, I've been walking the streets of Manhattan since I was 8 years old. Every night. I knew every part of that city. But up here, unless you're excited about going to Walmart at midnight and watching The Walking Dead making live appearances, there's really nothing up here. So the only thing I had to look forward to was being locked in the house when the snows came, because the driveway would be one sheet of glass, and you'd have to ship it away for a couple hours before you even got the snow out. And the fact that my sister would make veal parmesan, she'd make eggplant rollatini, she'd make all the meatloaf, she'd make these huge dishes. So every day became, well, I'll diet tomorrow. And that day never happened. My health got so bad when I reached 237, I couldn't bend. I could barely get out of bed. So I Googled fat farms in Google. Didn't even know what I was looking for. And I saw a couple places, but there was this one place, Jumpstart. It was up in the Catskills. And it was run by Ron Odato and his wife. And he had written a book on this. It was a couple that basically had gained 75 to 100 pounds apiece running a bed and breakfast. And Ron kidded about it. He said when the guests left, all that extra, French toast and pancakes and sausages, they gobbled it down. But he was given pretty much a death sentence by his doctors. So he started studying up on this stuff, and I don't know, in like 2 or 3 months, he lost like 30, 40 pounds, and his whole outlook on life changed. So much so that patrons who were going to his bed and breakfast upstate New York said, we want to do that too. So they became one of the first juicing bed and breakfast places in this country. They started the whole trend. As Ron likes to say now, he says, now we have 2,500 competitors. But for years, he was the only game in town. Well, I went up there, and it's an interesting facility. It's a beautiful home. It's in an isolated area, so don't think you're going to walk down to the store and cheat. It's not going to happen. They wake you up, and you get up in the morning. First thing you do is you have your little green juice. Then you go for a 5-mile walk, and it's very scenic up there, very rustic. You can pet the deers and the bears too if you have no value for your life. After that, we came back, and you had another sort of cleansing juice, with vinegar and cider vinegar and stuff. And then you had an hour or two of exercise. It could have been Pilates, yoga. It's suited for you. I moved muscles I had never moved in my life, and I'm still wondering. Then at lunchtime, you'd have a juice. Maybe a little bit after, you'd have another juice. Some sort of little snack, maybe nuts or something like that. A very tiny snack, believe me. And at dinner time, you'd have another one of their juice concoctions. or it could be vegetable concoctions. I never knew what to expect. At night, we got to watch all these great films like Vegucated and Fork Over Knives. Great movies that showed food processing in this country that most Americans don't know. How basically, they cut a pig open. Well, guess what? An animal defecates, and that stuff runs into the meat, and the next thing you know, the meat's being turned into meat for us to consume, and E. coli and other bacteria is infecting that meat. Besides all the steroids, like feeding cows corn when they're grass eaters. At night, we got to see all those great movies. During the week, they had cooking classes for us complete novices, how to prepare very simple and clean and mostly vegetarian meals throughout the week. They send you home with a complete package of what to do, thank God. But when I stepped on the scales, when I was leaving, the day I was leaving, I went from 237 and I went down to remarkable 220 pounds. I felt great. Not perfectly great. I'm still carrying an extra 30-something pounds when I left, but I could bend, I could move. I still looked overweight, but I felt much better. I came home following their plans and now eating solid foods and occasionally sticking some fish in there. I've lost another 10 pounds, but I feel good. My hearing is better. My hearing's been always screwed up because I had a childhood problem where they did an operation and they left a lot of scar tissue. So eating even a bagel with cream cheese, what would happen is my ears would clog up for months. I gave up coffee. I never intentionally planned on giving up coffee. But I haven't had a cup of coffee in 6 weeks, I think now. And it's amazing. You eat some fruit in the morning, it has the same effect without causing undue stress on your coffee, like on your system, like coffee does, by using up any reserves of sugar in your system. I can move. I feel better. My blood pressure is down to normal. For the first time in my life, my blood pressure was soaring. At that point, when I went in there, it was like 190 over 98, some ridiculous amount. It was like on the verge of, why don't you just jump off a bridge right now? It's a great program. For those of you who have no willpower like I didn't, for those of you who are around people who are constantly tempting you with food, or if you're in an environment like New York City where there's a food truck or a vendor on every street, there's tempting smells just walking down the street, you need to get away. And this is one of the best things I did for myself. It cost a little bit of money, but hey, I might not be here talking to you now if I didn't do it. So thanks to Ron, his wife, the staff up there at Jumpstart. I had a great time. I learned a lot, and I'm feeling better. Better than money I could have spent on doctors who are only helping me to cover up the symptoms and not do anything about it. So what do you got to lose?